Hey friends, welcome back to the Bald Booktuber. My name is Scott. Today we are going to take a look at what I will be reading in the month of October. So my TBR is probably not going to be crammed full of the usual suspects of a ton of horror and these kinds of things. I'm not really into Halloween, so I'm just going to read what I want to read and that'll be fine. I did get caught back up with my Sun Eater reread, so I have actually started early on the Ashes of Man arc. That's advanced reader copy, so Ashes of Man releases on December 13th, but I was fortunate enough to receive an advanced reader copy for it so that I can read it prior to that release date. So I've started it. I'm about 4 or 5 chapters in. I'm not very far, but it's, of course, excellent so far. Christopher Rocchio continues to be the man, so we pick up right where Kingdoms of Death leaves off, which is a very despondent Hadrian, our main character, Hadrian Marlowe, and we'll see what adventures he gets up to as we race towards the finale, which hopefully will come out early in 2023 or mid 2023 sometime. I'm not exactly sure what the timeline is. Christopher's working on it now, but that will be book 6 and the final book in Sun Eater. So exciting stuff ahead. Next up, I will be reading Freedom of the Mask, which is book number 6, I believe, in the Matthew Corbett mystery series by Robert McCammon. I have loved every entry so far. The last one, River of Souls, was much shorter and my least favorite so far, but I still really, really liked it. From another person I know who's currently reading it, Lucas, he says he's really enjoying it. So that's one of Mike's servers. So he's the only other person I know that has gone this far into the series with me. So I am excited to get to it. There are 2 more entries after this, Cardinal Black, which I will read in November, and King of Shadows, I think, is the one that just released this year that I'll read in December. So almost caught up and really, really having a great time. Next up, I will get to some rereads that I had planned to do back in August and September, but rereading Sun Eater had to take priority and precedence. But these are extremely good books that I am excited to revisit, and leading up to the conclusion, The Lonesome Crown by Brian Lee Durfee, which is book 3 of the 5 Warrior Angels. I'm talking about books 1 and 2. That's, hold them up here. Ugh. That's the Forgetting Moon and the Blackest Heart. It's a amazing epic fantasy series, elements of horror baked in, elements of grimdark baked in. There are merfolk, so seeing crazy mermen and mermaids is really cool. You've got kind of quest fantasy elements built in, so it has kind of a Shannara vibe at times. I really, really like it. So I am excited to dip back into that world and prepare myself for November 29th, which is the release date of The Lonesome Crown. Next up, I will be reading Misery by Stephen King. This will be a first-time read for me. It's a book I've always wanted to get to. I haven't seen the movie in 20 years or something like that. So after I read it, which I will do immersively, I've heard the audio is quite good, by someone named Lindsay Cruz, who I don't know, but I've heard it's good. So after I read that immersively, I will revisit the movie as well. So should be good. After that, I have been slowly going back through Sherlock Holmes, which is a dear character to me, and a series I hadn't visited since high school. So I'm not a young man, so that's been a long time ago. But I'm not reading out of this collection. It's just for show, but you know, these are some of the volumes. It's probably hard to see. but I read Study in Scarlet, Sign of the Four, and The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. That's the bottom 2 volumes here. I did those in September, so you'll see about those on my wrap-up. And I'm planning to do Memoirs of Sherlock Holmes this month. So that's a collection of short stories, just as Adventures was. Memoirs, I believe, if my memory is not failing me, and it probably is, I believe that is where we are introduced not only to Mycroft Holmes, who is Sherlock's brother, and supposedly smarter and better reasoning skills than even Sherlock, as well as one of the best villains ever written in Professor Moriarty. So stoked about that. So we will get to that. And then finally, if there is time, there is a new George R.R. Martin book coming out, Rise of the Dragon. It is apparently another Targaryen history. If I understand it correctly, it is similar to The World of Ice and Fire, which is more of an encyclopedia volume, but written somewhat in the style of Fire and Blood. So I don't know. I don't know what ground it will cover that we don't know about already, but it's Targaryen history. It's George. It's going to be read. I know that Harry Lloyd does the audio, just as he did for Night of the Seven Kingdoms. So he did okay with that. So I will probably do it by audio. I doubt I'm going to get the physical copy, at least initially. I don't want to spend that money right now. But at some point I will pick it up for the shelf. But probably just do audio. So I can do that in between other stuff. And maybe we'll learn some more history and lore of the Targaryen family. So excited about that. And really that should about wrap up October. That is already a pretty hefty load in terms of page count. I think that's already nearly 4,000 pages. So, you know, that should be plenty to keep me busy. But hoping to hear what everybody else plans to read in October. I know this is not spooky season heavy. So if you have Halloween reads that you're interested in, let me know. Again, I'm not a big horror guy. Halloween is not an important holiday to me, so none of that is among my priorities, but I know for many people it is. So either which way, I hope that everyone has a wonderful October reading month. I'd love to hear from you in the comments, and have an amazing day. As always, publication order always, my friends.